manufacturing plants are ditching freight brokers? This is great news. Let me ask you something. What happens when shippers stop picking up the phone for brokers? When factories realize they don't need a middleman to move their freight anymore? Well, it's happening. Quietly, but fast. Across the US and Canada, manufacturing plants are starting to cut brokers out of the picture entirely. Not because they hate freight brokers, but because they're tired of getting burned. Fake carriers, payment disputes, delayed updates, and freight that vanishes somewhere between the pickup and delivery. This isn't a trend, it's a shift. And if you're a carrier, things are starting to really look good in the near future. Let me explain. So here's a list of why manufacturing plants are starting to ditch freight brokers and move towards asset-based carriers. Number one, legal protection and payments. When a manufacturing plant moves freight through a broker, they add a legal risk most don't even realize. If a freight broker fails to pay the carrier, even after the shipper already paid the invoice to the broker, the carrier can still legally go after the shipper for payment. That means the shipper could end up paying twice. When a manufacturing plant works directly with an asset-based carrier, that risk disappears. The contract is clear and the payment is directly to the carrier. No middlemen, no confusion, no lawsuits, no double payments, just straightforward business between a shipper and a carrier. Reason number two is faster and more accurate updates. Manufacturing plants live and die by timing, dock schedules, raw materials, and delivery windows. When they rely on freight brokers, every update has to go through an extra person. The driver tells the dispatcher tells the broker emails the shipper, and by the time it's all passed along, the information is outdated. When they work directly, plants get real-time visibility, live GPS tracking, direct driver communication, and instant status updates. It's faster, cleaner, and removes the middleman who slows everything down. Now, reason number three is verified insurance and real coverage. This one's about trust. Too many brokers onboard carriers without verifying insurance properly, or worse, they rely on outdated certificates. Now, sometimes it's not the freight broker's fault. It's actually the carrier, somebody that supplies the freight broker with a fake certificate of insurance. Now, if that broker doesn't double check if that certificate is real, well, they could be on the hook. When a claim happens, the shipper suddenly finds out that the carrier's coverage expired or that the certificate was fake. When a manufacturer partners directly with a carrier, they can verify insurance firsthand, confirm limits, and know their freight is protected. No assumptions, no shortcuts, real coverage with real accountability. Reason number four, manufacturing plants are getting sick and tired of carriers approaching them for layovers and waiting times. Now, let's talk about the biggest frustration in the industry right now. It's when carriers get withheld their detention and layover pay. Carriers do everything right. They show up on time, sit on a dock for hours, file their detention request, and then starts the excuses. We haven't heard back from the shipper, it's still under review, weeks go by and the money never comes. But here's what most people don't realize. In most cases, the shipper already paid the broker for the detention. The broker just never passed it along to the carrier. They kept it as profit. That forces the carrier to go directly to the shipper asking for what's owed to them. And now the shipper sees the carrier as the problem, even though the carrier is just trying to get paid for their time. Manufacturing companies are starting to connect the dots. They see that it's not the drivers causing friction, it's the freight brokers withholding payments that were meant for the people actually doing the work. And when that happens often enough, well, shippers stop trusting freight brokers altogether. Number five, low risk of theft and fraud. Theft and double brokerings are out of control right now, especially with high value loads. Every extra hand in the chain adds risk. The more layers between shippers and carriers, the easier it is for fake MCs, imposters, and scammers to sneak in. When a plant deals directly with a verified carrier, there's one handshake, one truck, and one line of communication. They know who's hauling the loads, where it is, and who's responsible. It's that simple. And with freight, simple means secure. Reason number six, consistency and accountability. When a freight broker is involved, every load is a one-off. Different carrier, different dispatch, different expectations, but manufacturing plants want stability. They want consistency. They want the same drivers in their plants, the same routes, the same reliability. When they go directly with the carrier, they can create scheduled lanes, build trust, and know exactly who's moving their freight every week. And when something goes wrong, they don't have to chase 3 different people. They call the one carrier who owns the truck. Reason number 7, and I think that this is true, is better long-term rates when you have a relationship. And here's the part everyone understands: the money. When there's no middleman taking 25 to 30% off the top, that money stays in the relationship. Shippers can pay carriers a little more and still have money overall. Carriers can offer better service, prioritize those lanes, and even dedicate equipment. It builds long-term partnership instead of a one-time transaction. Everybody wins except the middleman. So yeah, freight brokers should be capped, and legitimate ones, well, they need to be held to higher standards. But the truth is, manufacturing plants are already moving that way on their own. They're tired of the games, the ghosting, the withheld payments, and the lack of transparency. But again, not all freight brokers are the same, and there are some really good ones out there. Future of freight isn't about middlemen, it's about trust, transparency, and carriers taking back control of their business. Thanks for watching. I'm Ronen, and I'd love for you guys to drop a comment below with your freight broker horror stories. I'd love to read some of them. I'm Ronen, and I'll catch you in my next video.